I am making this announcement in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, Laws of the State of New Jersey. The Borough Clerk has prepared a schedule of the meetings of the governing body of the Borough of Kenilworth for the year 2023. The Borough Clerk has posted a true copy of the schedule on the bulletin board located at the front entrance of Borough Hall, and has mailed true copies of this schedule to the local source, the Star Ledger, and the Home News Tribune, and is maintaining a copy of this schedule in her office during the year 2023. Accordingly, the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied in regard to this meeting. Please stand for the salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Finestrella. Councilman Morrow.
Here.
Councilman Pence.
Here.
Councilman Puglisi.
Here.
Councilman Scarice.
Here.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Here.
Mayor, before you start, can I make one note that there was a
Yes.
typographical error I just want to point out. Resolution 2023-194. In the first whereas clause on the second section, on the second line, it references in the New Jersey statute, there's a hyphen missing, and I just wanted to point that out. It's it should read NJSA 40A:51-6A. It's
Okay.
just missing that dash, so I just want to amend it on the record.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept and approve the following minutes for the work session, October 5th, 2022, October 19th, 2022, November 2nd, 2022, December 7th, 2022, January 18th, 2023, February 1st, 2023, February 15th, 2023, March 1st, 2023, April 5th, 2023, April 19th, 2023, May 3rd, 2023, May 17th, 2023, June 7th, 2023, June 21st, 2023, and July 12th, 2023. And also council meetings, February 15th, 2023, July 21st, 2023, I'm sorry, June 21st, 2023, and July 12th, 2023.
Motion.
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scarice.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
No. I didn't have a chance to read all that, so I can't approve something I haven't read, so
Okay.
absolutely not.
Okay, I'd just like to thank a couple of our businesses that supplied food to the seniors while the kitchen was, we were figuring out how to serve the lunches. Opa Grill, Michelle David of Remax Realty, Dr. Jaridi, Dr. Klugman, Mary Jo Camarada, Dr. Kaufman, and Harvey Fruckner, Attorney Harvey Fruckner. Thank you so much for donating delicious lunches to the seniors, because I was reading all these things, and it sounds wonderful. And it's really nice to see our businesses come out and support our community, so I just wanted to say thank you. Finance report, Councilman Puglisi.
I guess two main things tonight, Mayor. You'll see it for final reading. Is the ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 94, Fire Prevention, to authorize recovery of costs and expenses associated with the provision of fire services. Again, this is a provision that will allow town to recover the expenses for the fire department in responding to motor vehicle accidents. And we used as, I guess we used, was it another town's ordinance as a form, well, not a form, but as a role model, I guess. And we adopted the more simplistic approach for flat fees in responding to these types of events. So it would make things easier for the fire department and for the town for the billing and the collection of the assessments against the responsible party. We just increased the fees from the ordinance that we were looking at as a role model, just to make it more in line with today's expenses. And again, that's something we did that's new, that again, to bring in more money. These are all user-based fees, right? So we're only charging the people that are asking for the service. They might not have a choice in the matter because they're involved in an accident, but they're billing the responsible party. Firstly and foremost, and probably just as important, is that it will not apply to borough residents. So it's a win-win situation. In situations where insurance companies will be paying the tab, in theory, you're paying for it anyway for other people in other towns who are involved in accidents. Because if your insurance company is involved, or has a driver involved in an accident in Scotch Plains, and Scotch Plains is billing them, well, guess what? They're paying that through your insurance bill. So it's just a win all around for everybody. One other minor thing, credit to our CFO, Jill Good. She was once again able to get an increase on the amount of interest we are receiving from PNC Bank. We get an additional 1% now, which should add up to about $5,000 a month, if I'm correct, roughly thereabouts. So again, this is just all credit to her for that. But we're always looking, and Angela gets a lot of credit too, for more ways to bring in more money. As you can see with some of the ordinances, with amending the fees, and actually even saving money. So anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. Department of Public Works, Councilman Fenestrella is excused. Department of Public Safety, Councilman Zimmerman.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a report from Chief Seuss for the month of July. And for the month of July, the police department responded to 1,046 calls for service, and there were 169 911 calls. There were a total of 240 hours of overtime for the month, which was primarily for scheduled patrol overtime, which is 145 hours, and dispatch overtime, 48 hours. Mostly, I believe, due to vacation time in the summer. There were also 16 hours of overtime for SWAT call-outs and 24 hours of overtime for Detective Bureau investigations. And there were a total of 28 hours of training for the month of July, which was primarily for SWAT and USERT, as well as firearms and defensive tactics training. A total of 256 traffic summonses issued for the month, and a total of 2 sick days for the month of July, which is outstanding. On July 13th, the Kenilworth Police Department officers apprehended a homicide suspect with the assistance of our flock cameras that are now at Boulevard of Michigan. Officers Dominic Riccelli and Robert Ruger were working the night shift when they received a flock alert for a wanted Range Rover. The officers located the vehicle on South Michigan Avenue and conducted a felony motor vehicle stop. The officers were subsequently able to take a New York resident, Lorenzo Manuel, into custody without incident. Manuel was wanted for a shooting and homicide that occurred in Crown Heights, New York on June 10th of 2023, when a Bloods gang member was shot in the back of the head in a crowded nightclub. Kenilworth Police Department detectives worked with New York Police Department detectives to extradite Manuel to New York City to stand trial for these charges. Chief Seuss would like to commend Officers Riccelli and Ruger for their efforts in removing a dangerous felon off of the streets before he could harm anyone else. There was also, unfortunately, an uptick in catalytic converter thefts last month, with 10 having been reported stolen during the month of July. The thefts are almost all during the overnight hours in different areas of town. Suspects are now using battery-operated sawzalls to quickly remove the converters, which are then later sold for scraps, parts, or precious metals. Residents are reminded to be vigilant and to report any suspicious activity they observe. It only takes less than a minute for the thieves to remove the catalytic converter and leave the area. Kenworth also had 3 stolen motor vehicles during the month of July. On July 24th, a BMW X7 was taken from a parking lot off of Market Street at approximately 12:30 in the afternoon. The thieves apparently used a simulated electronic device to start the vehicle and flee the area. That vehicle has not yet been recovered. On July 29th, a Ford work van was taken from Fairfield Avenue at approximately 1 a.m. That vehicle was located by Kenworth detectives on Hawthorne Avenue in Newark, parked and unoccupied. Also on July 31st, a Newark Avenue resident reported her 2016 Hyundai had been taken overnight. That vehicle was located using the Flock system and recovered in Elizabeth. Moving on, while not during July, National Night Out this month was again held on August 1st behind Harding School, along with the fireworks afterwards, and was a great success. Officers estimated approximately 1,500 people attended both events, and kids loved the free ice cream, bouncy houses, and Kenworth Police Department and Fire Department apparatus that were on display. Residents also reported that the fireworks were some of the best they have seen yet and enjoyed a nice August night out with their neighbors. And last but not least, Chief Seuss would like to also recognize Fire Chief Lou Giardino, who passed away suddenly at the end of July. Lou was a close friend and tremendous example of a public servant who did anything for anyone in our community. It would be hard-pressed to think of anyone who did more to serve Kenworth over his long career with the fire department. Fred said he saw Lou and spoke to him almost every day, and his passing leaves a huge hole in the hearts of our community. And he will be sorely missed by everyone, and that's true. And that's it. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Planning and Zoning, Councilman Morrow.
Thank you, Mayor. And National Night Out was amazing. The turnout was outstanding.
Yeah,
and
nice.
your comment about the kids enjoying ice cream, I saw some people on our governing body enjoying that ice cream as well. It was
I don't know who you're talking about.
Actually, Rich Pacerno, however, he didn't get it. He was in line. Even at the back door, he didn't get it. That was that popular.
Great night.
They ran out, yeah. They closed shop when they ran out. Yeah.
All right, I'll start off with planning activity. It's been very quiet this summer. We haven't had a meeting. Not many applications have come in, but I believe we're coming back to work in September. So things will pick up there in the fall. Very positive notes still coming out of the building and planning and zoning, the zoning and enforcement area here. We had a very, I'd say, steady summer with complaints and zoning issues, all being dealt with accordingly. Nothing major where we need to make major reports here about them. Better things, I think, happening on the zoning side, where we're seeing a lot of vibrance and health in our towns, and we have a lot of businesses that some have actually on this list I have here have opened already and some are opening. So I just wanted to go through this, what we're going to be getting in Kenworth. Down on South Michigan, we're going to be seeing a party event planning shop opening up, hair salon on Monroe Avenue, the Creperie restaurant, hearing rave reviews about it over on South Michigan. We've got a car tinting shop coming on Fairfield Avenue, a new dumpling restaurant opening up on the boulevard where the ice cream shop was, and another warehouse coming down later in Monroe. So a lot of vibrance going on in this town, love to see it, and we may have a new dumpling spot to refer to our friends.
Oh my God. Where's that going to be?
The dumpling shop where the ice cream, Sweetland, where that one was.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, really busy month for a great team, and I think when a finance person like me start looking at the numbers, to look at the health of the department, when you look at the permits and revenue brought in from that department, 7 months out of the year in 2022 versus 23, we are 40% higher, 39 and change, Joe, just not exactly 40, but we're showing a lot of health and good stuff coming out of the construction building department here. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation and Fire, Councilman Pence.
Thank you, Mayor. A little short report. The Rec Department, I received a report from Mr. Gallerano referencing the Kids Recreation Trust grant this year. I just totaled it up. It's $258,500. Do we have money in the budget for half of that?
No,
Or we just have to, we'll have to pare it down, I guess.
I believe he's applying for $150,000. We have some money So this was the wish list, only because
Right,
Tony's
yeah,
not here.
right.
So, and then he allocated money to it and tried to put it in priorities. The application is due at the end of the month.
August 28th.
And
4:30.
he is asking for $150,000, and I think we talked about putting 75 in the budget next year for,
You know,
look at,
a lot of
right.
people always ask for big numbers,
So-
and unfortunately, they get.
That's just I've totaled it up, it's a little
Yeah,
pricey.
I mean, you know, even that side, we asked for like 200,000 last year, and I think we got 40 or 50. You know, you don't get. that.
Right, yeah.
You don't need to worry about that yet. It's a good thing if you get it, though. You know?
Right.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Okay.
Councilman Pence, that wish list is to complete all the parks to the standards that we want. It's not something we're gonna get done in 1 year.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be 2, maybe 3 years tops.
All right, that's fine. I just look at the number. I just look at the numbers.
The parks are technically open for use. Demerio is almost finished, they're gonna be finishing the side, that's the last thing to be done, other than what's on the wish list. They're gonna finish that on Tuesday. But yeah, that's just a wish list for like the next year or two.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And the fire report for July, there was 38 calls, 1 mutual aid, there's no EMS report, and Councilman Zimmerman summed up the passing of Chief Giordano. He's going to be sorely missed.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Mayor. Joe did give me a report that was sent to him by our
I'll circle
DPW.
back. I'll
Thank
circle back to you.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
okay, thank you. Councilman, thanks. Okay, Councilman Puglisi is going to give the Department of Public Works report for
And
Councilman.
thank you, Superintendent, for the report. First thing I just want to talk about is the trees. And these are trees that are within a borough right-of-way, probably along the roadway in the front of the house, or if you're on the corner house, along the side of the house. There are people who are, many residents, who are asking for their trees, or these types of trees, to be cut down by the municipality. So I just want to, in a nutshell, state what the borough's position is as it stands. So what happens is, if you believe there's a tree that is a problem, what will happen is, and it's within a borough, it's a borough tree within the borough right away, is you notify the DPW or the clerk's office, and they'll notify the DPW. From there, someone from the DPW will come and look at the tree. Now, if it's a healthy tree, they'll tell you it's a healthy tree, and the borough will not pay to take it down. Okay. Now, if there's some branches that may come too close to a power line or something, the borough may do something. That's within the discretion of the superintendent. If it's an unhealthy tree, the borough will then put it on. We always have a list that we carry it, and it would be on that list to take the tree down, because we'd rather take it down on our own terms rather than falling down on somebody or somebody's house or anything. So that's what our borough's position is for that type of scenario. But now we're passing an ordinance that's on, I guess, first reading tonight, where if it's a situation where it's a healthy tree, but you as the homeowner don't want it there for whatever reason, you could pay to take it down, if the borough gives you permission to do that. Now, that could change upon the location of the tree, but we do have an avenue for you to request it, that you take it down, you the resident pay for it, and you take it down on your own, provided you get insurance and you post a bond, you grind the stump and everything. So, and that's for a healthy tree within a borough right-of-way. So some people don't mind paying for it. They'd rather have it taken down, but you will have to replace a tree of a type that's approved by the town, and you'll have to get an insured tree cutter, and again, post a bond, and then our superintendent or someone will come by and make sure the work is done correctly. And but that's where we stand on trees, because we're getting numerous requests for trees. And to be honest with you, most of the time when people buy their home, that same tree is already there. So it's not something that just sprung up overnight. So if it's an unhealthy tree, that's a problem. Absolutely. So regarding recycling, we do allow residents to drop off items at the DPW facility. It's open from 7 to 2:30, so you could drop it off during any one of those times. Or you could drop it off on a certain Saturday per month and that's from 7 a.m. to noon. The next time the borough DPW yard will open on a Saturday will be on September 9th. And bulk waste pickup for the north side of town, that will be October 2nd, and the south side, October 9th. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Health, Education, and Human Services, Councilman Oscar-Reese.
Thank you, Mayor. One question with the trees. That's only pertaining to that little front part, doesn't, not the rear of the property.
So, if the right-of-way is in question, we'll consult with the town engineer who has the right-of-way, because right-of-ways can vary upon the roads, not necessarily from the center of the road, it depends when the road is built. But yes, we'll vary the, right-of-ways do vary road to road, and we'll also consult with the engineer when it comes to that. As far as cutting it down, but it's typically anything that's between the sidewalk and the curb, or usually within 6 to 10 feet off the edge of the road.
Okay. So if there's something in someone's backyard, the town doesn't care about that at all? Okay. Thank you. Okay. We'll start off with seniors. I had made 8 trips over the course of July with other councilmen as well. Councilman Finchrel was there, Councilman Zimmerman was there certain days. We observed the implementation of our new policy and procedures, and was happy to report it was all quiet while I was there. On July 24th, the county started their food program again, thanks to Marconi on Board of Health. He was instrumental in getting a compromised temporary deal in place using disposable trays until we can rectify the situation. So seniors are being fed now by the county once again. So during the course of the seniors, there was an incident, but it turned out to be a misunderstanding. While I know the kitchen's a common area, except when the food program, once they deliver the food, the kitchen's off limits. And someone was asked to leave the kitchen area, and they took it personal. But I verified with the kitchen, the county worker who was there, that it's legitimate. They don't want no one there. You're going to have the hairnets. They're very strict, as we can tell, with their standards. And once that program started, no one can go in there, no matter what, unless you're gowned up and working the food program. That's it. And as far as seniors go, on Fridays they got yoga at 10 o'clock in the morning. Wednesdays, 9:30 is Zumba. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11:30 is the senior lunch, sponsored by Union County. We also, before that, is the senior club meets. So if you'd like to join the senior club, they have their, on the first floor. They're taking new applications. I was there, some people were joining, so it was good to see. And as a reminder, the club are volunteers that run the actual program for us and for the borough. Library, let's see. Library is children's program for the library on August 17th. They got a magic show, ages 4 to adult, 7 to 8 o'clock. Friday, August 18th. K to 9 demonstration of ages 8 to adult, 11 to 11:30 a.m. Monday, August 21st and 28th, bingo for ages 3 and up, 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, August 22nd, iPuppies for ages 3 and up at 6:30. Tuesday, August 29th and September 5th, PJ Story Time for 3 and up, 6:30 p.m. Friday, August 18th and September 8th. Friday Fun Craft will be held for ages 4 to 9, 3:30 p.m. Tuesday, September 5th. Lapsit held for ages newborn to 2 years old, 10:30 a.m. Wednesday, September 6th. Toddler time, ages 2 and up, 10:30 a.m. Thursday, September 7th. Lego at the library, ages 4 and up, 3:30 p.m. Now we go on to adult programming. As a reminder, please go to the library to register for the children's programs. Some spaces are limited. Adult programming, Tuesday, August 22nd, Paper Pals, 6 to 8 p.m. August 24th, Yarnies, 4 o'clock. August 29th, Spin a Yarn Program, 5 to 7:45 p.m. Thursday, August 31st, Yarnies at night, 6 to 7:30. Tuesday, September 5th, Paper Pals, again, 2 to 4 p.m. All program information can be found on the library website and Facebook page. Any questions families may have, feel free to give the library a call at 908-276-2451. And that's all I have to report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Is there a motion to accept and approve committee reports?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have two ordinances for final adoption. Ordinance 2023-16, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 170, Streets and Sidewalks, Article 9, placement of dumpsters on public right-of-way, sidewalks or streets, Section 35, application for permit, fees, term, regulations of the municipal code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to open the floor to the public for hearing on ordinance 2023-16?
Motion.
Second.
Does anyone have anything to say on this ordinance and this ordinance only? Please come forward and state your name and address. Okay, seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public hearing and adopt ordinance 2023-16?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morrow?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
Councilman Scurries?
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-16 has been adopted. Ordinance 2023-19, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 39, Police Department, Section 2, designation of appropriate authority, Section 9, appointing and promotion of officers, and adding Section 10, promotion of officers, to the municipal code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2023-19?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone have anything to say about this ordinance and this ordinance only? Please come forward and state your name and address. Okay, seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public hearing and adopt ordinance 2023-19?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morrow?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
Councilman Scurries?
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-19 has been adopted.
Next for council consideration is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
The consent agenda consists of resolutions 2023-189 through 2023-197, noting that 2023-194 is as amended as discussed previously. These resolutions will be approved by one motion. All items will be recorded individually in full in the minutes. Councilman Morrow?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
Councilman Scurries?
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman?
Yes.
We have 6 ordinances for introduction tonight. Ordinance 2023-15, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 185 Trees, Section 2, acts prohibited without permission, exceptions, and Section 4, contact with brine, gas, or injurious chemical prohibited of the Code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-15 for introduction?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morrow?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
Councilman Scurries?
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman?
Yes.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance number 2023-15, heretofore introduced, does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on September 6, 2023 at 6:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached, at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-17? Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, no,
Go
that's it.
go ahead, I'm ahead of you.
Ordinance, there's a lot.
Yeah.
2023-17, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 120, Land Use, Part 1, Administration, Article 6, Fees, Deposits, Guarantees, and Other Payments, Section 2, Schedule of Fees of the Municipal Code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-17 for introduction?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scurries.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2023-17, heretofore introduced, does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at the meeting to be held on September 6, 2023, at 6:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached, at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law of the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage. Ordinance 2023-18, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 91, Fees and Licenses, Article 1, Fees Generally, Section 1, Schedule of Fees and Licenses of the Municipal Code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-18 for introduction?
Motion. Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scurries.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2023-18, heretofore introduced, does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on September 6, 2023, at 6:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage. Ordinance 2023-20, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 94, Fire Prevention, to authorize recovery of costs and expenses associated with provision of fire services in the Municipal Code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-20 for introduction?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scurries.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Do you mind if I take 1 second and check?
Mm-hmm, sure. Of course.
There's a typo in the title of ordinance 20. Does it matter? There's an S in there. Can I just point it out and say that'll be fixed? So the word fire services has an extra S.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you can make
Yeah, just a misspelling.
Yep.
It's in the description.
Yep, so I'm just going to point it out. That'll be changed
Okay.
for next time. Sorry, I noticed it when I... Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2023-20, heretofore introduced, does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on September 6, 2023, at 6:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage. Ordinance 2023-21, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 55, alarm devices of the Code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-21 for introduction?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scarice.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2023-21, heretofore introduced, does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on September 6, 2023 at 6:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage. Ordinance 2023-22, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 202, Fees, Section 2, Fees, and Chapter 212, Sanitary Standards, Article 13, License and Fee Schedule, Section 26, Fees Enumerated of the Municipal Code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-22 for introduction?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
21?
22.
22.
Councilman Morrow?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
Councilman Scarice?
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman?
Yes.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2023-22, heretofore introduced, does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on September 6, 2023 at 6:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
I'd like a motion to open the floor to the public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone have anything to say for the good and well-being of Kenilworth? Please come forward and state your name and address.
Good evening, Rich Pacerno, 241 Bay 2. I have a quick question. It's about the trees, I guess it's ordinance 2023-15. Mr. Puglisi, just for clarification, I think you said that if it's an old rotted tree, you go on a list of some sort, and then it will be taken down?
Correct.
You'll get on a list. But if it was a healthy tree, it's going to stay, that's no problem, that someone can pay themselves to have it removed and then replaced. And I think you also said that if the tree is overgrown and needed to be trimmed, would the DPW come or forestry department or something take a look at that and maybe trim the tree?
Yeah, that's within the discretion of the superintendent, depending on the situation.
Okay, so that's what I heard, that's the good thing. The other thing, though, I think that you didn't address, or maybe it's part of an ordinance somewhere that I'm not reading, what about roots that are uplifting concrete? Is that, if that are in the right of way, is that part of the homeowner's responsibility at that point? Or is it a healthy tree if it has roots uplifted? Now that causes an insurance impact to the homeowner. Would that be covered under the town, or does the homeowner have to pay for that?
As far as I know, the homeowner. The way the ordinances are written, it's the homeowner. It's certainly part of their responsibility for maintaining the sidewalk.
Ms. Puglisi, I'm not challenging you here.
No. I mean, I understand.
General conversations, and I know back and forth bickering, but I want to say that
I understand the situation.
Sidewalk is in good shape, and then the tree is uplifting it, but it's the city-owned tree. Why does the resident have to bear the burden?
Because I had a friend that had the same discussion with him. Similar, exact situation. He's got a tree. It's lifting up the sidewalk. The root is. But he goes, why should I have to replace the sidewalk if the root is still there? So that's a situation where you're just going to have to work with the town and maybe just do a cut around the tree, around the root.
So it is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
I also am confronted with that on a property now. And the thing is, if we take up the sidewalk, cut the roots, now I've compromised the tree. If I cut around the root, now I don't have enough space for the sidewalk and pedestrians to walk. There's also another trip factor. Maybe it's something to take a look at to soften the blow to the resident. That's all I have. Not your fault or anybody's fault. It just seems like a double-edged sword that the resident has to incur that cost.
Yeah, I mean, you make a valid point. It just, I don't know, it's either the taxpayers pay for it or the homeowner pays for it. So I guess right now it's going to be on the taxpayer, the homeowner, excuse me. But maybe that's something we revisit in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Shirley Maxwell, 38 South 24th Street in Kenilworth.
Hi, Shirley.
And on behalf of the Kenilworth Municipal Alliance, I would just like to thank and acknowledge the Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse and the Union County Department of Human Services Division of Individual and Family Support Services for the grants that enable the Alliance to contribute towards such wonderful events as National Night Out. It was just wonderful. And especially the delicious ice cream.
But I don't know about that.
And also such important programs in our schools as LEAD, Red Ribbon Week, every 15 minutes, Project Graduation, and the new Prevention Links courses, Don't Get Vaped In, and We're Not Buying It. The Alliance strives to protect our communities, families, and youth by providing substance awareness and prevention of alcohol and tobacco misuse programs. And we also want to thank the CFO, Jill Good, and Lisa Wood, and Angela for the wonderful assistance they provide in helping administer those grants. We're always welcoming new members for the Alliance, and our next meeting is on September 6th at 3 p.m. right here in the Borough Conference Room. So I'd like to just extend that welcome to anybody in the general public who would like to be part of the Alliance and help us in what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you,
everything
Shirley.
you're doing, Shirley.
Good evening, everyone. Joseph Rizzo, 212 North 21st Street.
Good evening.
Councilman Puglisi mentioned the date for the bulk pickups, and something that I always wanted to bring up. During the bulk pickups is the only time that the residents can get rid of any scrap metal, because we don't collect it at the DPW. But can we work something out where residents can bring scrap metal to the DPW and could actually make some coin with the recycling, with scrap metal that's there, even white goods? Because now you have to pay a fee from someone in DPW to pick it up. And if we could have a container or something there, maybe do something once a month, the new superintendent of DPW could, I don't know, something that we could think about to do. So, especially during bulk week, that's when all the pickers come around. I see tables out of there, happened to my neighbor, aluminum table with the glass top. They come back in at night, the glass is all broken on the driveway, and the metal's gone. So, but if there's something that we can do in the town, so the residents could actually bring the metal or the scrap metal to the yard maybe once a month, just like they do at the county, we could, a little revenue stream for the DPW and something for the residents. something to consider.
Joe, I think we do accept scrap metal. Or
We do, and as a matter of fact, we're amending the fees for bulk drop-off and pickups, where right now it's slated where residents have to pay regardless of what the metal is, and we're allowing residents to bring any metal that has no freight on for free.
Okay.
While we're open.
White goods or any scrap?
It doesn't matter.
And, oh,
Anything that's majority metal, so like, I mean, if you have like a chair that's got a cloth seat, a lawn chair, then your best bet is to like just remove the cloth seat, throw it in your trash, and then bring that.
okay.
You know, any kind of exercise equipment is welcome as well, it's mostly metal.
All right. Last time I tried, it's still
What about something like a stove? As long-
Stoves, yeah.
That's fine, as long as it doesn't have freon.
Right, as long as it doesn't have freon, because we still have to charge the residents for freon because we have to
Right.
install it for DEP.
Yeah, of course. But other scrap metals we do accept?
Yes,
Or you guys
anything that has
accept?
no
Okay.
freon in it,
Okay.
and as long as it doesn't have a gas. If it's a propane cylinder, we can't take that, because it's got a gas, even if you said you evacuated it. The only way I think it's acceptable in scrap metal yards is if you remove the valve off the top of the propane tank. So that ensures that there's no chance for explosions, but
Okay. Okay. Well, great.
Can I just point out that that's on tonight's agenda? That is in, so it's not, you were told you couldn't because you couldn't. And Greg pointed out it's being changed. It's ordinance 2023-18. If you want to pick up a copy, you can see what's in it. And that change, as Greg said, is he is allowing it to be dropped off. The fee is different. There are two sets of fees. I just will point out there are two sets of fees. If they don't have to pick it up, there will be a less of a charge for you to drop it off. There will be designated times which will be published. So the Public Works will put out a schedule of when you can, and they will let us know. We'll also have it on our at the clerk's office, but it'll also be on the website.
Okay.
But that'll go into effect. It's up for final adoption on September 6th.
So after that.
So it's going to be after that. So
Okay.
just
Let's
note
keep
that.
moving on.
Sorry, just
That's a
letting.
good point.
Yeah, no, just letting you know.
All right,
that.
thank you.
Anyone else? Good. Seeing no one, I'd like a motion to close the floor to the public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. At this time, there is need to go into executive session. Please note that we will only be coming out of executive session to adjourn the meeting. No further action will be taken. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Morrow?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
Councilman Scurries?
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman?
Yes.